Jackson. On behalf of my co-hosts Isaac Simpson and Maria Perry, I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Short on Shorts. Our special guest reviewer this week is film journalist, author, and programmer Heidi Honeycutt, whose work has appeared in publications like Fangoria magazine and Movie Maker magazine. And today, we're reviewing Darth by Darthwest, directed by Fabrice Mathieu. Hope I got that right. Make sure to check it out before watching our review. The link is in the description below. Enjoy the movie and our review.
Like Heidi's pick, my pick is also a remix of existing films, though I'd call this one a little bit more of a mashup. It's Darth by Darthwest by Fabrice Mathieu, sorry if I'm butchering that, and it combines Hitchcock's North by Northwest with Star Wars. Cary Grant faces off against characters from the Star Wars universe. It raises all sorts of interesting questions, some about copyright law, but more importantly, are these films, these mashups and remixes, are they just novelties or are they signs of a larger trend? That's what I'd like to talk about.
Okay.
I think that certainly it's a trend. It happens a ton. One of the major differences between this film and Heidi's film is the expertise with which it was executed. I'm a really, really big proponent of do not use visual effects in short films unless you're great at it. There's nothing worse to me than bad visual effects, and the visual effects in this are not great. I think it's a fun idea. Why not mash up these two worlds? You know, it's actually a perfect scene. You know, that scene in North by Northwest that he's using. I mean, it oddly lends itself to this, so that's great. You know, bravo for recognizing that. But I didn't enjoy it because I didn't think that. I mean, not to say that I could ever do anything even close to that. I mean, I'm certainly not a visual effects artist, but I just felt like, you know.
I think a lot of that too is that if you're going to make this, you're definitely constrained by what the films you're using are, and you've got two films made in very different times on different, technology that he's shoved together. So I thought, all things considered, like, they blended reasonably well, considering that they came from basically very different. You could see the edges where things were I don't know, photoshopped in is just how my brain defaults to, but like when you added stuff from Star Wars to the other scenes, there were definite edges and the lighting wasn't maybe right, but that's what he had to work with. It's not like he set the lights up himself and was like, well, you know.
What's interesting to me about this is that, so 3 of the films we've had today are referential, right, in their own way. This one is the only one that is only 2 things combined together into one. Right. So it's like when DJ, whatever Mouse, one of the Mouse DJs, did the, not Dead Mouse, it was Danger Mouse, did the Grey album, which was one Jay-Z album mixed with one Beatles album. The Black album mixed with the Grey album, or the White album. And it became the Grey album, right? Uh-huh. So musically, it wasn't that great, but it was a really interesting sort of landmark.
Right.
And that's what this is. It is just 2 things taken wholesale and shoved together.
Right. And by the way, I know I'm probably going to get crucified for what I just said, but yeah, it is. You're right. It's exactly that. But I think that if you're going to do that, then make it look good.
Yeah.
You know.
But conceptually, I mean, have things gotten so postmodern referential that we're going to see movies in the theaters like this?
I don't know. I think that we see a different version of this in mainstream Hollywood. You know, we see the constant rehashing of the same stories and sequels and things like that. That's the big budget Hollywood version of this, basically. What is it? Alien versus Predator and
yeah.
And all the
well, and then on top of that, you've got an maybe even closer version of that, which is like all of the fan fictions that are being made into movies now, because that's a huge thing in fan fiction. Like, well, let's send the characters from whatever anime is topical this week to Harry Potter, and they're all running around in Hogwarts, and then somebody takes and changes the names of all the things, and that's the next movie that comes out.
Yeah.
That's not a stretch. That's a thing. But like, it's not that far off, honestly. The only difference is instead of recutting footage, we're just reusing ideas and making it look original.
That's so funny that you say fan fiction, because that's exactly how I feel about this short. I feel like it's literally somebody's fan fiction. And the scene that they picked from North by Northwest is perfect for what they're doing, but it's also a really slow, easy scene to use. It was like they were like, oh, that's perfect, and he could look at something, and it's not like it's they're climbing the side of the rock or anything that would have been really challenging. It's like they picked, there's no dialogue, it's just Cary Grant kind of
running.
And to me it was fan fiction. I mean, I think what this represents is not so much like the major trends in Hollywood necessarily, though I see what you're saying and I agree with you. But I think this particular short is more like everybody has access to this kind of technology now. Everybody's got a computer, everybody can upload this shit to wherever they want, and it's fun, and people are having fun. And I can go home and I can write my fan fiction, or I can make it on whatever, but I think that's really all it is fan fiction. I don't think that if we end up seeing stuff like this in Hollywood big mainstream films, I don't think it will be as a result of people in their living room making fun projects. I think it'll be because people at the top are like, yeah, let's save more money. Can we just cut and paste that or whatever? Like, I think,
See, I think the closest thing we will get to this is somebody trying to use actors who are dead.
Yeah,
Yes.
something like that. Well,
I can get behind that.
That technology just came out where you can make somebody talk very convincingly and make it look like they're saying things they're not saying.
Right.
You saw that video, right?
Yeah.
So it could be, exactly, we could see Cary Grant actually acting in a film
Yes,
that he's
Well,
not
I
in,
mean,
which is amazing to think about.
what is it? Captain America Civil War just came out, and they did the thing where they made Robert Downey Jr. young again, and he's very clearly early 90s Robert Downey Jr.
So he's high.
I mean,
They made him high on heroin.
they definitely painted out the
Yeah.
oil spots.
Okay, like the fact that you could take people and make them say and do things that they never would have agreed to in real life, and there's nothing they can do about it because they're dead, and we don't care because it's funny and it's Hollywood and somebody's making money. Like, I love that.
Wow.
And also, by the way, I know we're about to wrap this one up, but before we do, there's a point that you made, Heidi, a little while ago about this being fan fiction and maybe somebody just made it for fun. And I think that context is really important, right? Because isn't that the whole thing about fan fiction, that you're just doing it for fun, right? You're part of a community that is, using all these elements that already exist and you're putting them together in a new way, and it's just for fun. And I think that if you want to make a movie where you're mashing things together like this just for fun, I think that's great. Yeah. And on that level, go for it. Keep doing it. But if I'm looking at it as an independent work of fiction, that I'm trying to evaluate like a movie experience, someone who's not part of the fun, right? Then I want it to be well executed, right? So if you're just, the filmmaker, if you made this just for yourself, just to have a good time, great. That's good, and keep doing it, right? But I mean,
Kevin, you don't have to apologize for saying that you didn't like the visual effects, man. It's fine.
Okay. I'm very sorry. I know, like I said, I know I'm going to get murdered for that, but...
It's okay. I don't like Star Wars, so they can murder me instead now.
I've never seen